Here again with Darren Porcher. He's a former NYPD lieutenant. DHS and the Trump administration have made a lot of claims, and thank you for Darren for being with us again for this. They made a lot of claims about what happened in Minneapolis yesterday. But we have a lot of video that shows what happened yesterday in the moments leading up to Alex Pretty's killing at the hands of federal agents. And I want to start with the very first video that we all saw yesterday, around 11 a.m. Eastern, when we started to first hear reports of the shooting. This video that I'm going to show you is taken by a bystander who is, and this is important, Darren, he's indoors across the street. So it's a bit difficult to see and hear exactly what's going on. But again, I've got a lot of video, so we're going to corroborate all of this. What you're about to see is a struggle between one man, Alex Pretty, and several federal agents. A warning, and I will warn you ahead of all of these are all graphic videos. You will hear gunshots at the end of this one.
They're doing too much, man, and they keep pushing people, you know?
Oh, what the They killed him? Did they kill that guy? Are you kidding me, dude?
Now, this is the first video we had yesterday, and Darren, we were talking to experts yesterday morning, and they all said it's not a clear enough video to make a determination, and we don't have enough context. We don't know what happened immediately prior to that. So let me show you what else we have. That video didn't show us what was going on before the shooting or what led to it, but since yesterday morning, as is the case with so many of these interactions that involve federal agents these days, several other videos and angles from the scene have surfaced, and they paint a much clearer picture. Now, before I show you more video, I want to read to you from the Department of Homeland Security's account of the fatal shooting. DHS says Pretty, quote, approached agents with a semi-automatic handgun. Just a note, by the way, for me, pretty much all modern pistols are semi-automatic. It just means that when you pull the trigger, you can pull it again without recharging the gun. They are legal to carry if you have a permit for one in Minneapolis, which police say Pretty did have. Here's the quote from DHS. An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm the suspect, but the armed suspect violently resisted. Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of his fellow officers, an agent fired defensive shots. Okay, that's what CBP says. While talking to reporters, the CBP chief, Greg Bovino, also claimed that Pretty wanted to, quote, massacre law enforcement. But the videos that have surfaced appear to contradict this account. In fact, we've been unable, in all the videos we've seen, to identify a gun in Pretty's hands at any point during this interaction. But that's just us. We're going to let you see for yourself. This next video is going to give us some more context. I'm going to play it out fully first. And what I want you to do is pay attention to the man in the khaki pants, the brown jacket, and the black baseball cap. Tall guy. That's Alex Pretty. Again, I'm going to play this for you in full, and then Darren and I are going to break it down. This starts off slowly. It's going to be about 30 seconds of not knowing what's going on. 36 seconds in, you are going to see Pretty's first physical interaction with a federal agent. About 1 minute in, you'll hear the first gunshot. Another warning, this is graphic.
Go. What the is wrong with you? The people! The is wrong with you? Honestly!
Okay, Now let's break this down bit by bit. Let's go to the video here, and we'll start with a bystander recording of the video, right? So we've got two other protesters here interacting with a federal agent. Here you've got Alex Priddy. He emerges into frame in a brown jacket, black cap, tan pants. In one hand, he is recording. In his right hand, he's recording with his phone. His left hand, you can see, is empty. And what you can see is he's waving traffic through. You can still see the other two protesters who are interacting with the agent. Priddy's still in the street, okay? He's waving a car through. Watch this. He's inviting cars to pass by. And remember, DHS said that Priddy approached agents with a gun. This video seems to show otherwise.
Ali, this is clearly alternative facts. We have an individual that's looking to assist as it relates to moving traffic through. Although he's not a traffic control agent, but he's looking to somewhat instill a level of order as it relates to what's happening at the scene here.
Order as opposed to disorder. The way they've painted this is that this guy went up to cops with a loaded gun. We've now seen 3 videos, and we haven't seen that.
Right. Let's be clear. There's no aggressive actions on the part of the deceased. He's holding a cell phone. He's trying to capture the interaction between the ICE agents, but he in no way, shape, or form is approaching the ICE agents, nor is he introducing a threat to law enforcement.
You could even argue that he's disrupting traffic, but he's not. He's doing the opposite of disrupting traffic. He's actually encouraging traffic to go through.
Not at all. Not at all. He is encouraging traffic to come through, but he's not looking to disrupt traffic, as you stated. But more so important is he's not providing any threat to law enforcement, right, as we see in this video.
He's distant from them. He's across the street. Okay, as the video continues, Priddy is now going to be walking toward the other two protesters and the federal agent with whom they're interacting across the street. The camera that's recording, you can see it jostles around a little bit. But then we see Priddy. That's him right there. Okay, you see him appearing to help one of the protesters. Then he's hit with what appears to be an irritant. We've seen a lot of these federal agents carrying pepper spray in and around Minneapolis. So take a look at this. All right, so here, let's be clear on what we've got. We've got federal agents all around. There's a protester here. This is the person whom Priddy appears to have been trying to help. This is Priddy right here. He's got his back to the agents. What do you make of where we are now?
What we see now is a woman that was pushed to the ground by ICE. She's on the ground, so it appears as if Mr. Priddy is looking to provide her with a level of assistance, such as bringing her up to a position where she can be okay. He's not, once again, providing a threat to law enforcement, because when we look at law enforcement, these agents, they're to Priddy's back. Priddy is moving towards the individual that fell to the floor. Once again, there's no threat to law enforcement because he's looking to garner or give her a level of assistance.
And remember, because you and I have talked about police shootings for a long time, one big giveaway when it's not a clean shoot is that the person's got their back to you. It's very hard to attack someone backward.
That is true, but the perception in no way, shape, or form presents itself to the officer as a perceived threat.
All right, so let's take a look at this. This next movement, the next moment that I'm going to show you is very quick, so we've slowed it down. Just as Priddy turns his back to the agents, take a look at this. His right hand, very hard to see, his right hand appears to move toward his right outside jacket. Now, the right hand is the hand in which he was holding the phone, and it appears that he's putting his phone into his pocket. Remember that DHS said officially that he approached agents with a gun. But what we now see, and again, it is hard to see, we've looked at this video many times, but you can see it, both of his hands are empty.
Once again, Ali, the most significant point here is he's not introducing a level of threat to law enforcement. We don't have audio here, but at the same token, he's tendering aid to an individual that's fell to the ground as possibly injured, which is something that a common citizen I can see doing in a situation like that.
All right, let's continue to roll this with one of the protesters, the one with the red backpack you can see over here. All right, falls against the white car. And as Darren said, it looks like Priddy was trying to help that protester, but then the agents pull them apart. Now the group of agents swarm around Priddy, and Priddy is now fully on the ground. Now, in the next clip, they grapple for about 10 more seconds, and I want you to listen carefully, because about 12 seconds in, while Priddy is on the ground, at least one agent, and you can hear this because this is now video taken on the outside, yells, "Gun." This happens more than 15 seconds, by the way, after Priddy is initially thrown to the ground. Watch.
What the is wrong with you? Honestly.
All right, less than 1 second after yelling gun, shots are fired. We count 10 gunshots in total, but again, we are not forensic analysts. Watch these final moments. I want to warn you again, this is disturbing. All right, Darren, this is important. They're jostling. They're on the ground. This has been more than 10 seconds or 15 seconds on the ground where no one has yet suggested that they've encountered a gun. It is practice, right, with police that the minute there's a gun that is not in an officer's hand, someone yells gun, and certain things should be done at that point, including backing away, allowing the police to be safe.
Right. And this goes into tactical positioning, letting your fellow officers know that a firearm is on the scene. This is in accordance with best practices in policing. However, when we see what happens after that, it becomes somewhat disturbing. What we haven't captured in this video yet is the firearm is actually removed from the decedent. And as after the firearm is removed, that's when the individual is shot.
This is really important. These agents were now several feet away before this happens, before the shooting. They're several feet away from a motionless man at whom they've just fired several shots. They still had their guns all drawn and pointed on Preddy lying on the street. But I want to get back to this crucial and specific moment that Darren just talked about. It appears from the video that one of the federal agents took Preddy's handgun moments before they shot him multiple times. The Washington Post enhanced, slowed down, and zoomed in on this moment in the video. Let's watch this together. Preddy is on the ground. His firearm is removed by a federal agent who is over here. He's the one in the gray. Look at that. The firearm is removed. Now, it's entirely possible because the agent who yelled gun appeared to be standing over here. This agent removes this firearm. This is the agent. And then another officer sees the firearm in the hand of the agent, shouts gun, and then gunshots are fired.
That's correct. It appears as if the individual has a holster, and that's why law enforcement was able to zero in and determine that there was a firearm, which is fine. I thought
the police say that he's permitted, and if you're permitted in Minneapolis, you can carry a gun.
This is true, but at the same token, I understand police removing the firearm. That goes in accordance with best practices in policing. But now we have an unarmed person. Just at that frame right there, we now have an unarmed civilian that's on the ground. This is before he shot. So when we look to the 1989 Supreme Court decision titled Graham versus Connor, this is what introduces how and when police officers can use force against a citizen. There is no imminent threat here, and that's what Graham versus Connor focuses on. The imminent threat has been removed because the firearm has been taken by law enforcement. After the firearm is removed by law enforcement, that's when we have a barrage of upwards of 10 shots that strike the individual or the deceased, leading to him expiring. This is questionable, and this is something that they're really going to have to explain in a court of law.
So for the rest of us who are not trained in policing, there's adrenaline coursing through your veins. There was some kind of a fight on the ground. We're not sure what was going on, and we see this gun removed. For regular people who are not trained in this, you can imagine the adrenaline still coursing through, and you might carry through on what it is you were going to do when you saw a gun. In other words, shoot the guy. But these are supposed to be trained officers. There's a lot of question about how trained they are, and they don't seem to be all that well trained. But that's the policing magic here, right? You see a gun, the gun is now removed by a fellow officer, so you don't shoot the guy.
Ali, you hit it right on the head. The training is of optimum importance. And I believe that after that firearm was removed, that adrenaline rush was still moving forward. But you have to understand, over 90% of people that are arrested in possession of firearms are not shot, because you're trained that once the threat dissolves, then there's no need for you to introduce deadly physical force. Here we have the absolute opposite. The aspect of the propensity of an immediate threat to the officers has been removed, because we see in this video the firearm is now in possession of law enforcement. So it begs the question as to why did they shoot this individual when he was unarmed? We see it on video.